The sitting is now, it has been converted into a committee stage. Since the Speaker has already used Rule 45 of the standing rules of the KwaZulu-Natal Legislature to afford members to the opportunity for silent prayer, we are not going to do any prayer. I want to remind members that this is a budget debate of the legislature that is conducted in terms of the rules of the virtual meetings. It is my plea to all members that if, as a presiding officer, I have not permitted you to speak, please switch off your camera. Switch off your camera, Honorable Khoza, and your microphone, so that we do not disturb the proceedings of the recordings of the debate. Before we continue, I would like to check the quorum with the table staff. Table staff, over to you. Do we have a quorum?
Hugely inflated prices. A classic case of...
Good afternoon, Chairperson. It's Welihla Memela. I can confirm that we've got 45 members in this session. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We do have the quorum. Members, before we proceed with the budget debate, I must reiterate the ruling of the Speaker relating to addressing connectivity problems. The Speaker has ruled that the following measures will be adopted to try and assist members who may not be able to participate due to connectivity issues. If a member has a connectivity issue, the presiding officer will continue with other speakers on the speakers list for the debate. If the member regains connectivity before the response of the debate has commenced, the presiding officer will be flexible in applying the speakers list, and the member will be allowed to continue his or her debate speech. Secondly, we also want to ask members who are debating to allocate fellow party members who will be able to take over their members' speech when they've got a problem with connectivity. If all fails and the member is unable to present his or her speech or get another party member to take over, it is directed that the member may submit his or her speech to the Secretary of the Legislature, and the speech will be included in the record of the debate. If a member does not have a connectivity problem, we will follow the above guidance to try and assist members. I hope that this is in order. We will now proceed with the agenda of the day. Today we have got the budget speech of the Premier, vote 1. Over to you, Honorable Premier.
Thank you.
You have 45 minutes.
Thank you, House Chairperson, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, members of the Executive Council, Honorable members of the Provincial Legislature of KwaZulu-Natal, mayors, councillors, Amakosi and religious leaders, our Director General, Dr. Mkhize, and heads of departments, Excellencies, members of Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, fellow compatriots, Sanmonani Dumelang, good day. Honorable members, we converge today to present budget vote 1, which is allocated to the office of the Premier. The program structure of the office of the Premier comprises of administration, institutional development, and policy and governance. With your indulgence, Chairperson, Please allow me to start by reflecting on the context of this budget vote, addressing in particular its implication for our province and in this unique history of our time. Honorable Chair, 3 months ago, we delivered the State of the Province address under the theme, and I quote, "Together creating our common future," close quote. Only a day later, during the SOPA debate, South Africa reported its first confirmed case of coronavirus of a patient from here in KwaZulu-Natal. Since this announcement on the 5th of March 2020, our life has changed and will not be the same. For the first time since 1994, we are addressing the budget vote speech isolated from the warm presence and interaction of honorable members of the legislature and the people of KwaZulu-Natal. On the 15th March, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa declared a state of the national disaster in a move that was unprecedented in the history of our country. But that was necessitated by the advent of COVID-19, a virus that was and it is still spreading like wildfire around the world. On the 9th of April, 2 weeks into the national state of disaster, the President further announced the extension of the national lockdown till the end of April. And he said, I quote, "During the course of these last 2 weeks, your lives have been severely disrupted. You have suffered great hardship and endured much uncertainty. We have closed our borders to the world. Our children are not in school. Businesses have closed their operation. Many have lost their income, and our country has ground to a halt," close quote. The President went further to say, after careful consideration of available evidence, the National Coronavirus Command Council has decided to extend the nationwide lockdown by a further 2 weeks beyond the initial 21 days. This means that most of the existing lockdown measures will remain in force until the end of April. It is common cause that the lockdown was subsequently extended as part of the national effort to flatten the curve, and as a consequence to that, a national adjustment risk strategy was adopted by the National Coronavirus Command Council and is currently being implemented. As the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we established the KZN Provincial Command Council, which serves as a war room against the spread of COVID-19 in the province. Honorable Chairperson, during these trying times and uncertainty, the people of our province and our country have been called upon to make major sacrifices and to transform their behavior in order to combat this new, deadly, and invisible threat, which a threat with no visible end in sight. Through their patriotic action, they have given meaning to the President's clarion call of working together, making the necessary adjustment to our new normal life, lifestyles, and serving the first line of defense against the threat of COVID-19. As we present this budget, we wish to salute in particular the poor and vulnerable of our land who have answered the call to become combatant in the war against COVID-19. It is them who remain our staff. We also wish to pay our special tribute to all our healthcare workers who risk their lives daily to save and protect their citizens from this pandemic. We salute our entrepreneurs in the first and the second economy who have taken the bold, who have taken bold, shutting down and losing valuable income, all in an effort to avert many deaths and untold destruction. We pay tribute to all essential service workers who continue to serve in the healthcare facilities, pharmacies, tech shops, supermarkets, petrol stations, and on our roads. The security forces such as the police, the South African National Defence Force, and the traffic officers have worked hard to ensure peace and stability in our province during this unusual time in our country. Indeed, COVID-19 crisis has posed questions of all sectors of our society, and we are pleased to say that South Africa has proven once more that it is alive with possibility. We have seen individuals, small enterprises, big business, and civil society pulling together and contributing to the well-being of our people and our economy. We've seen political parties putting aside their differences in the interest of health and the safety of our nation. We've witnessed the incredible commitment of South African media who have risked their own life to keep our people informed on the virus. Overwhelmingly, our men and women in uniform have done a stellar job in enforcing the state of disaster regulations, and keeping our public safe. We also thank many of our public service employees who have been working hard and remotely in their homes, supporting government effort to curb the spread of this virus. Every citizen have given up one of their most cherishable rights in our law, namely the freedom of movement, staying in their homes in order to isolate the deadly enemy called COVID-19. After so many have given so much, we are now in no position to disappoint the people of this province. This is the time to work even harder to achieve a South Africa that is truly united, non-racial, non-sexist, equal, and prosperous. We must all stand together and prevent past divisions and the economic fault lines to be the hallmark of our nation. We have a task to heal the wounds and the trauma that have been visited upon our people. We must urgently begin to address the setbacks that ordinary people have come to suffer because of this pandemic. It cannot be business as usual. This is a historic moment that calls on all patriots to be seized with the question of reconstruction and development of our province and our country post-COVID-19. The world of work has been disrupted and will no longer be the same given the crisis unleashed by this unprecedented health pandemic. The silver lining is that it has forced us to push our boundary of innovation and excellence. In a short period of time, it has catapulted many countries to fast-track the rollout of the internet, to advance e-government, and expand digitalization and e-learning. No one in KwaZulu-Natal must be left behind. And it is our responsibility to ensure that there is a just transition to this new digital world. We are therefore adamant that the post-COVID-19 world will emerge with a new economic architecture for our province, where we will no longer be reliant on foreign suppliers. We have to enhance our manufacturing capacity and improve our local economy. It is imperative that every rand we budget must answer the simple question of what impact it will make in the reconstruction and development, in creating jobs, in supporting enterprise development, in improving health outcomes, in improving service delivery, and in building social cohesion. In such an environment, we must all speak with one voice and act decisively against wastage, fraud, corruption, and malfeasance. We must also root out crime in society and act against those who destroy public assets such as schools, clinics, libraries, and universities. We will continue to ensure that government programs are directed to make an immediate and lasting impact on reducing poverty, unemployment, and inequality. In this regard, government must be efficient, prudent, and more innovative to achieve more for our people with diminishing resources and to attain the majority of our objectives. When we delivered the State of the Province address on the 4th of March this year, we were already faced with a struggling economy which was shedding jobs and growing at a decreasing rate. But we were still encouraged as the province that some of our fundamentals and job creation efforts were still bearing fruit. We know from the State SA that in the year 2019, KwaZulu-Natal saw a net injection of 39,000 jobs into the provincial economy. This was supported by the wholesale and trade sector, which created 46,000 jobs, followed by the agricultural sector, which created 22,000 jobs. The transport sector created 15,000 jobs. And with the COVID-19 pandemic, there is no doubt that all these sectors have been severely undermined. With an ailing global economy, our economy faces even more difficulties. Our critical tourism and hospitality sectors have been hardest hit, and it may take a while before it fully recovers. The downgrading of South Africa to sub-investment status by all the rating agencies mean that our country will be paying more for its borrowings. This will make our economic recovery even more challenging. Others are even estimating that no less than 1 million jobs will be lost directly because of COVID-19, exacerbating the crisis of unemployment and raising the threat of social instability. With all these setbacks, there are increasing calls from all sectors that government should reduce the public sector wage bill and freeze salary increment. The COVID-19 disaster has seen the president, cabinet members, the premiers, members of executive councils, and director generals take pay cut in order to join a growing list of members of our community that contribute to the Solidarity Fund. There are no easy answers and no shortcuts to our challenges. But in all that we do, we must be motivated by the interest of the most vulnerable and marginalized in our society. In the SOPA, we announced Sukuma 100,000 as one program to be implemented to address the crisis of youth unemployment. With many businesses closing down in the formal and informal economy, it means that people have joined the sea of the unemployed. This demands that every person and public service employees must be preoccupied with how through our programs we can accelerate economic recovery and job creation. All the signs are there that our tax revenue will be reduced, and this will have a dire impact on our social programs, service delivery, and creation of jobs. It is for this reason that we cannot afford to spend on programs that are not helping our government to facilitate economic growth, creating jobs, poverty alleviation, the delivery of basic services, and social cohesion. The impact of COVID-19 to the budget, as will be detailed by the MEC for Finance, the COVID-19 pandemic have wreaked havoc on budgets of department. We have had to embark on unprecedented and unforeseen interventions. COVID-19 has disrupted budget structures, and this will have a huge impact on our strategic plans and annual performance plans that this August House, they have to take decisions about review in future. To sketch a brief picture, the estimation of GDP contraction in KwaZulu-Natal as a direct result of COVID-19 is about 26 billion rand. The national government announced a 500 billion relief package. An amount of 130 billion of this will be funded from within existing government financial resources. The national departments will contribute 100 billion, whilst all 9 provinces will contribute 30 billion. This means that from the existing baseline, KwaZulu-Natal has had to reprioritize its budget to fund the required programs to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. Utilizing the provincial equitable share, KwaZulu-Natal's contribution to the 30 billion is about 6.2 billion for the 2020-2021 financial year. As the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we must identify these funds and return them to the national toward the response package as announced by the president. This therefore means that the provincial budget that was tabled in this house in March by MEC for Finance must be reprioritized and fund be redirected toward funding the COVID-19 response. In undertaking this reprioritization process, due care has been taken to exclude the Departments of Health and Education, and to the limited extent, the Department of Social Development. This is because these 3 leads our government response to COVID-19. As we indicated earlier, we are therefore expecting that the annual performance plans that were prepared in line with the tabled budget will be revised to align to the prioritized budget. A special adjustments budget will be tabled by the Minister of Finance in due course, and we will also follow suit as the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We have put in place control measures to ensure that as we respond to this crisis, we are also able to continue with the programs and the functioning of government. We guard against any act of abuse. We have already acted timelessly and are investigating in areas where allegations of wrongdoings have been reported. We will report on these once investigations are concluded. We are clear that government cannot ask the people of KwaZulu-Natal to tighten their belts if it does not set the example of reducing wasteful expenditure. All of us must direct the limited resources of the people toward programs that offer the greatest promise to take us quicker onto the path of inclusive economic recovery and redistributive growth. We must continue to mobilize and support all the people of KwaZulu-Natal to become champions of self-development. We are learning from this pandemic, and we will ensure that it does not become a missed opportunity for the fundamental transformation of our economy. We must use this global pandemic to disinfect our body politics of deadly divisive toxins and work to bring the best out of every citizen and every stakeholder in the province. Honorable Chair, the budget for the Office of the Premier for the year 2020-2021 is about 198 million. In the course of this budget, we will then provide an overview of the program structure and the amounts budgeted to each program. Honorable Chair, we start with administration, which has been allocated 136 million. There are 5 sub-programs under administration, and these are Premier Support, Executive Council Support, Director General Support, Financial Management and Intergovernmental Relations. The Premier Support sub-program has been allocated a budget of about 30 million in order to provide technical support and administrative as well as advisory support to the Premier. The Executive Council Support program has been allocated a budget of about 9 million to render Secretariat support services to the Executive Council, Cabinet Izimbizo, clusters, and key provincial committees. The Director General Support Sub-Program has been allocated a budget of about 15 million to provide administrative support to the Director General to effectively execute her mandate of managing the province. An amount of about 55.155 million is allocated to the Financial Management Sub-Program to provide financial management support and advisory services for the entire department. The Intergovernmental Relations Sub-Program has been allocated a budget of about 25 million. The Intergovernmental Relations Unity within the Office of the Premier will ensure that structural arrangements are in place to support the effective implementation of the new district development model. The Premier's coordinating forum meetings will continue to be held at least every quarter. The Office of the Premier, working with the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, has finalized the alignment of Operation Sukumasake with the district development model. The KwaZulu-Natal province has entered into agreement with other provinces in different countries, and work is underway to review and update these arrangements. Office of the Premier, working with the Treasury, will monitor the official development assistance, OAD, to promote economic development and welfare of the province. Program 2, which is institutional development, allocated 437.532 million. Our program of institutional development focuses on improving service delivery through institutional capacity building and transformation management in the province. It is allocated 437 million. The sub-program of institutional development are the following: strategic human resource, legal services, information communication technology, communication services, and special programs. With regard to strategic human resources, a key component of the National Development Plan 2030 and the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Growth and Development Plan 2035 is human resource development, which is the anchor of these. And this human resource development is anchored on the 3 following pillars. Firstly, human resource development, which include and focuses on Provincial Public Service Training Academy, Information Technology, as well as Communication. The Personnel Management Unit will continue to provide support to all provincial departments in terms of training of users, providing an audit and reporting functions, as well as rendering of an online help desk to all users in the province. The Office of the Premier continues to support National Treasury and the Department of Public Service and Administration in reducing the emolument attachment orders, which is called in brief the garnish orders, from all employees. The advent of the sixth administration has implication on the structuring of department. The Office of the Premier is a lead department in the realignment, and we have since already signed off a document which enables the provincial macro-organization of government to be implemented. The branch will also engage in a process to modernize HR by embracing the ICT opportunities offered by the Fourth Industrial Revolution and KZN Digital Transformation Strategy. These include electronic systems such as leave management and e-recruitment. With regard to the development or developing the human resource for KwaZulu-Natal, the KZN Public Service Training Academy is central to human resource development in the province. During the previous financial year, the academy trained 1,906 public servants, conducted 4 capacity building workshops, provided 3 provincial skills development forums, hosted 4 provincial HRD forums, trained 200 artisans, and capacitated 850 beneficiaries in short stints. We concluded a cooperation agreement with the Durban University of Technology. To ensure that we continue to deliver on the mandate in the year 2020 and 2021, the Training Academy will focus on the following: delivery of 160 training sessions, conducting ICT training sessions, and roll out 10 short skills programs, facilitate the reconstitution of the Human Resource Development Council, enhance the implementation of knowledge management system within the Training Academy, continue to implement partnership with higher education institutions, action the provincial skills audit, develop and implement e-learning linked to the KZN digitalization and e-government strategy. We will continue to forge and strengthen partnerships with higher education institutions, private colleges, and the National School of Governance. Honorable Chair, with regard to Information Communication Technology sub-program, which is allocated 93 million, the provincial Legislature resolution number 4 of 18, or number 4, which was on the 18th of June 2019, resolved that the provincial ICT strategy has been developed to leverage cloud computing, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence that will elevate e-governance services capability. The Office of the Premier, working together with Moses Kotane Institute, have embarked on the development of the Provincial Digital Transformation Strategy. The Moses Kotane Institute has offered to roll out digital training for public servants at the computer lab at the Academy. This will be operationalized during this financial year. Work is ongoing to capacitate the department to strengthen its ability to have staff working remotely to improve efficiency and, of course, reduce costs. About 93,593,000 is allocated to this sub-program for the year 2020-2021. Key project to be undertaken during this financial year is the implementation of the provincial ICT strategy, development of a provincial cloud policy, development of a cybersecurity strategy, migration to cloud computing platforms, installation of digital screens in boardrooms for team collaboration. On the sub-program, legal services, this sub-program has been allocated 13.462 million. We have progressed well thus far in the improvement of the quality of our provincial legislature and the rationalization of our statute. Yet, more remains to be done. The Chief Directorate, State Law Advisory Services, plays a meaningful role in establishing the legislative framework for public service delivery, good governance and administration in KwaZulu-Natal. KwaZulu-Natal Public Sector Lawyers Forum functions as an integral government, as an intra-governmental structure that coordinates the provision of legal services across provincial departments, given the decentralization system of legal services. We are pleased to report that KwaZulu-Natal has taken a lead in the country in the rationalization of laws and the audit of and compliance with laws. By the same token, we are equally concerned that it is becoming increasingly difficult to recruit and retain suitably qualified and experienced legal personnel in the public service. We are hopeful that this may, to a certain extent, be addressed by the occupation-specific dispensation. On the program of communication services, this sub-program is allocated about 67 million. Government communication remains a vital link between the implementation of government programs and the empowerment of citizens. Communication sub-program provide an integral and coordinated government communication services within the provincial government and the office of the Premier. It is responsible for the creation of a vibrant dialogue, not only between the office of the Premier and communities, but the entire provincial government. This is done through enhancing a synergy with other government departments in service delivery, ensuring that citizens access information that expand access to the opportunities that can be used to develop themselves and their respective areas. Outlook for this financial year, which is 2020-2021, in line with the mandate of this sixth administration to grow South Africa together, we have embarked on a process to re-engineer the provincial government communication so that it meets the information needs of our people. A new head of provincial government communication was appointed, and a new communication strategy has been developed and approved by Cabinet in line with the priorities of this administration. In the 2020-2021, the provincial communication government, the provincial government communication will undertake programs and projects that breathe life to the government's theme to grow KwaZulu-Natal together. This has already started with the mass education and awareness campaign we have had to undertake as the province that reported the first COVID-19 case in KwaZulu-Natal, and the subsequent program of awareness on the COVID-19. Other programs that will be undertaken during this financial year will be awareness on COVID-19, support for the upcoming local government elections as part of deepening democracy and mobilization of society, strategic partnership to promote economic opportunities with a focus on Operation Vula, RASET, and other major programs. Developing communication platforms to ensure an empowered citizenry of KwaZulu-Natal province. Improving cluster communication and branding, capacitate or build capacity programs for government communicators at the provincial and district level. It is important that we ensure that messengers of government message are empowered, including providing them with relevant skills and tools to disseminate government information in a faster, digitalized way. When it comes to special programs, sub-program, this is allocated 165 million. Under this, integrity management plays an important role in promoting professionalism, ethical conduct, and accountability in the public service. In the year ahead, the unit has been allocated 165.341 million as part of its drive to promote integrity in the province. The integrity management system will intensify the rollout of the I Do Right campaign. As part of this program, the integrity management will host the third Integrity Leadership Summit. The summit will be used by the provincial government as a vehicle to engage with various stakeholders with a drive to come up with programs and initiatives to combat fraud and corruption in the provincial administration and local government. Progress report on key priorities. The unit has conducted ethics and anti-corruption awareness workshops within the departments and municipalities. The unit attends to complaints that are lodged through the presidential hotlines, walk-ins, telephone calls, emails, and letters. During the 2019 SOP, we announced the launch of a hotline to report fraud and corruption. The Integrity Management Unit has partnered with CETA for the establishment of this hotline call center system. A program team led by ICT, working with the NEV Center and the CETA, is working on an integrated system to include hotline, complaints management system, and the NEV Center. And the draft concept document is being finalized. With regard to the sub-program on youth development, provincial government continues to offer a hand up to the youth of KwaZulu-Natal by prioritizing their development. Programs aim at youth empowerment, cut across departments, and bring in stakeholders outside government. Through the Youth Chief Directorate in the Office of the Premier, there has been a series of interventions that are meant to improve the lives of young people. These include Sukuma 100,000 and the Youth Empowerment Fund. A concept document is being finalized to outline the details of Sukuma 100,000. This program, which will be coordinated in the Office of the Premier, will cut across all departments, spheres of government, private sector, tertiary institutions, parastatals, and other quasi-government organizations, aiming to create about 100,000 new jobs for young people. The program targets the youth, women, and people with disabilities across KwaZulu-Natal province. The Youth Empowerment Fund is one of the flagship programs for the province of KwaZulu-Natal, which is aimed at ensuring that a new era of entrepreneurial activity is introduced in the youth to curb youth unemployment. In its first phase last year, about 70 million was allocated to 53 youth-owned businesses, creating over 408 sustainable jobs. There is a need to strengthen the Provincial Youth Development Coordinating Forum in order to achieve synergy, greater impact, and maximize cooperation between youth managers across departments. There is equally a need for a more advocacy targeting women entrepreneurs in order to increase their participation in the economy of the province. With regard to security services, the Office of the Premier is entrusted with ensuring effective coordination of the protection of government resources. We are aware of current security threats to both physically as well as information security in the Office of the Premier. We acknowledge that for some time, security services have been under-resourced and under-capacitated, leading to non-compliance with the national security standard. The filling of vacancies is being prioritized to strengthen the leadership of the unit and to ensure that it delivers without fail on its critical mandate. Equally, effort will be made to strengthen the provincial forums comprising of SSA, SAPS, and the provincial government security structures. When it comes to Program 3, Policy and Governance, Policy and Governance in the Office of the Premier is responsible for the province-wide coordinated approach toward sustainable provincial growth and development through policy formulation, implementation, and evaluation. The program consists of 3 sub-programs, which are pillars of policy government, and these are provincial policy management, Premier's priority program, and the royal household. With regard to the sub-program of provincial policy management, about 57 million has been allocated to this program. The unit will continue to provide secretariat support to the Provincial Planning Commission, which is recently or has been recently appointed in line with the new term of office. The unit on planning, research, and policy coordination has coordinated the province to produce the one provincial MTSF plan, with one monitoring plan for this coming financial year. The branch has facilitated the alignment of public policies, research and strategic plans, and instruments to the National Development Plan. This has been done through the medium-term strategic framework for 2020 to 2025, the Provincial Growth and Development Strategy, as well as the medium-term strategic framework implementation plan for 2020 and 2022. There will be a special focus on monitoring departmental performance, call-face service delivery monitoring through Operations Yahlola. The province is steaming ahead with the implementation of the district development model, which is about integrating the functioning and the provision of services from the province to district and to lower municipalities. This will, of course,
the Honorable Premier. Premier, I'll advise that you take some minutes from the responding minutes that you have at the end, because you have taken all your 45 minutes. Can you advise me how many minutes you are going to take?
Well, let's take 5 minutes.
I'll give you 5 minutes then. We are going to deduct it at the end. Thank you, Honorable Premier.
The DDM is underpinned by the idea of one plan, one budget for each district. With regard to sub-program on Premier's priority program, 97 million has been allocated for this financial year, and this will include a focus on Operation Sukumasake, Inkululeko Development Project, the multi-sectoral provincial response to AIDS and to HIV and AIDS, TB, and STIs. During this financial year, the province made tremendous progress in terms of these interventions, especially in Erikwala, Umkungundlovu, Umzinyathi, and Umkhanyabude. With regard to the medical male circumcision, we've reached more than 1.2 million. The stakeholder coordination branch will continue with key projects which are focusing on issues such as multi-sectoral response to HIV and AIDS, STIs, as well as TB. The Office of the Premier will continue to coordinate the implementation of the 3-year funded Global Fund grant, which started on the 1st of April 2019. We will continue to focus on the fight against the gender-based violence, and our focus in the main will be about intensifying service delivery, focusing as well on farm workers and farm dwellers, integration of traditional leadership, establish and implement traditional leadership sector, focusing on Schulange Ngengo. We will also equally focus on poverty eradication program. We will focus in ensuring that there is a development of a comprehensive provincial stakeholder coordinating strategy, enhancing and integrating the district multi-sectoral stakeholder dialogue, focusing on ensuring that there is a participation on Operation Sukumasake, as well as conducting public service week. With regard to King support and royal household, about 71 million has been allocated for the support to the royal household for this financial year. With regard, Honorable Speaker, to this, we will also be focusing on Zulu Royal Household Trust to ensure that it is capacitated to a point where it can regenerate revenue so that it supports the funding of the royal household. For this year, there will be upgrade and repairs as well as maintenance in 8 royal palaces, which is KwaDlamahlahla, KwaKhethomthandayo, KwaKhangela, KwaLindizulu, Enyokeni, Osuthu, Ondi, and Emaqhobeni in Gwavu. In conclusion, may I take this opportunity to thank the Director General of our province, Dr. Mkhize, for her staying leadership of the Office of the Premier, as well as all DDGs and the staff within the Office of the Premier. Let me also take this opportunity to thank my family as well as the ANC for their unwavering support and guidance. As we spend every cent, let us remember that, and let's remember the question of how the scarce resources of the people will be best utilized in the reconstruction and development of our province. As Martin Luther King warns, we must thrive together as brothers and sisters and not perish together as fools who fail to learn from history. We must sustain and promote the value of unity, collaboration, compassion, and solidarity. We must learn from our mistakes and be determined to sustain the new patriotism that have recently been witnessed. Never again must we quarrel about the urgent need for eradicating gross inequality among our people, the need for universal health care for all, the need for all our people to access clean water and decent sanitation, shelter, and a regular meal. Someone once remarked recently that, and I quote, "This is the time to sanitize not only our hands, but also our hearts," close quote. We must use this global pandemic to disinfect our body politics of deadly divisive toxins and work to bring the best out of every citizen and stakeholder in KwaZulu-Natal. We are a people of remarkable strength and extraordinary resilience. Let us roll up our sleeves and get to work. History has chosen all of us to be the combatants and merchants of hope. Through hard work and unity, we can restore dignity of our people, rekindle hope, and build our life. Honorable Chairperson, we hereby formally table vote 1 with a budget of about 800.19 million before this legislature. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Premier, for a well-structured budget speech. Honorable members, we are two presiding officers. It's myself and Honorable Duma. Seeing that Honorable Duma will be debating in the next vote, I will take over the next vote, and I will now hand over to Honorable Duma to proceed. Over to you, Honorable Duma.
Thank you so much, Honorable Gloria Swarboy, Mrs. Ntombela, for affording us this opportunity. Thank you so much, Honorable Kuzen, our Premier, for offering what is going to be fundamental for addressing the imbalance of the past in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. It was well structured, as the presiding officer has already mentioned. We agree to that sentiment, but the members will have a chance just to deliberate. I'm going to just remind members that let us ensure that both videos and our phone are on mute, not unless the member is on the podium. We only allow that member. I think you're all aware, members, as presented by the speaker in the morning, that will afford an opportunity. If you happen to be facing a problem, will afford an opportunity provided the Premier has not yet responded. Let us proceed and afford the Chairperson, Honorable CQ Madlopa, for 10 minutes. Honorable Madlopa, the platform is yours. Can we have Honorable the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee?
Honorable House Chairperson, Honorable Premier Zigalala, members of the Executive, Honorable members of this House, allow me to table the report which gives a brief outline of the Office of the Premier, deliberations and engagement on the 2020-21 budget. It is a welcome opportunity for us in the Premier Portfolio Committee to participate in the debate of the Office of the Premier's budget policy statement presented to this House today. The areas covered in the report of the Honorable Premier are the ones in which the committee has interest. The committee met with the Office of the Premier in several meetings from the first draft to the final draft budget. The meeting to consider the final budget was held on the 28th of March 2020 to understand their 2020-21 annual performance plans and budgets. The committee noted that the department has considered and aligned the National Development Plan 2030, 2019-2024 medium-term spatial framework, KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Growth and Development Plan to form the basis of the 2020-25 Departmental Strategic Plan. The committee also noted with interest that the Office of the Premier has aligned the 2020-25 Strategic Plan to the 7 priorities of the 6th administration, as outlined also in the medium-term spatial framework document. With regards to new framework, Honorable House Chair, for strategic plans, it resulted in the phasing out of the strategic objectives and the introduction of the outcomes. Thus, the outcomes of the department are as follows. 1 is the outcome 1, improve governance and accountability. Outcome 2, improve coordination and integration and efficiency in government. And 3, inclusive stakeholders engagement and improve partnerships. Professional and ethical provincial administration. On 2020-21 MTEE budget, the committee noted that the Office of the Premier has been allocated 800.1 million, 775.3 and 812.2 million over the 2020-21 medium-term expenditure framework. The committee noted an increase in the allocation of the budget of the Office of the Premier from a 2019-20 budget amount of 714 million to 800.1 million in 2020-21 budget year. The committee welcomed an increase in the budget due to additional budget in KwaZulu-Natal Youth Empowerment Fund to an amount of 50 million and the 6.9 million due to reallocation of roof repairs at the Moses Mabhida building and amongst others. The committee will monitor the 50 million once-off allocation for KZN Youth Fund Empowerment, whether it will really assist in the reduction of youth unemployment, as the Honorable Premier has indicated that this is the focus to try and deal with the challenges facing the youth, especially the issue of unemployment. Despite the increase in the budget allocation, the committee noted that the Office of the Premier was not exempted from the budget cuts which other departments have faced due to the fiscal consolidation and provincial equitable share formula updates budget cuts to an amount of 2.3 million. The Office of the Premier has effected these cuts against the goods and services within the Program 1 in order to protect the department's service delivery budget in Program 2 and 3. This was welcomed by the committee, as the committee feels strongly that budget cuts should not be implemented against the service delivery initiatives and the projects. The Office of the Premier did not leave out the funding for cost of the presidential launch for the district development model in its budget process. As the committee has before stated in its reports to the House, it still understands that the department's core functions are to coordinate provincial policy and planning processes, provide provincial leadership and the interdepartmental coordination, promote cooperative and good governance, provide transversal support services to human resource management, communications, information technology, legal and macro policy advisory services, as well as to promote a culture of human rights consciousness and gender sensitivity across the province, and to facilitate the smooth functioning of the KZN Zulu Royal Household Trust. The committee will ensure that robust oversight is conducted in order to assist the Office of the Premier to achieve the above functions. This committee in its tenure continues to desire to assist the Office of the Premier to be a leading example to other departments in achieving a clean audit outcomes. Again, the committee is pleased that OTP is in the process of strengthening the functionality of Operation Sukumasake structures and further to reinvigorate the campaigns in ensuring effective functioning of structures and participation of departments, especially in municipalities, as the Premier has indicated that there is a set-aside budget of 97 million, which also Operation Sukuma Sake will be strengthened with that particular budget. Honorable House Chair, the committee remains committed to giving full support to the Office of the Premier in ensuring that it fulfills its primary mandate as stipulated in their annual performance plan. The focus of the committee will be more on how the department spends its voted funds throughout the 2020-21 MTEF. The committee has emphasized once again that it will not accept any underspending and overspending by the department. The committee will also closely track the progress on the implementation of the finance and SCOPA resolutions during the year. This will be done in order to ensure robust oversight is performed by the committee over the financial and service delivery performance of the department. During the engagement with the Office of the Premier, the committee wishes to highlight the following areas of concerns that arose. One, in relation to Zulu Royal Household, several departments such as the Office of the Premier, COGTA, Agriculture and Arts and Culture seem to be rendering similar functions, all with the aim of assisting the Zulu Royal Household Trust. The committee resolved that this needs to be followed very closely and recommended that a joint meeting with the provincial treasury present might be crucial to clarify all these issues. The program 3 of Zulu Royal Household Trust fundraising, the understanding of the committee is that this program should generate its own revenue, but the trust is struggling to raise its own funds. The committee wants to see the OTP or the Office of the Premier assisting the trust in developing business plan or strategy to make sure that they really do their own fundraising. The committee has also noted with concern that during the 2019-2020 adjustment, the Department of COGTA transferred 4 million to the Office of the Premier. This was initially intended for community service centers projects within the COGTA department. The committee was concerned that a service level agreement could not be furnished to the portfolio committee, detailing the terms and conditions of this 4 million. The Office of the Premier has since responded that it will submit the service level agreement in the next portfolio committee meeting. Using the tracking resolution mechanism, as per the sector oversight model, the committee will monitor the Office of the Premier on a monthly basis until the above issues are addressed satisfactorily. As mentioned above, the committee met to consider the budget. Most of the committee members supported the 2020-21 budget as tabled, with the exception of the DA, which reserved its rights but did not register any objection. As the Premier has indicated, we must note that there shall be a prioritization of the budget and maybe also amendment in the APPs because of the challenge that that affected us after we have finalized the process of budget. So we have to note that.
Honorable Chairperson, unfortunately, your time is up.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. The ANC supports this budget.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. The next speaker from the ANC for 9 minutes, Honorable MPP Zungu. You are on podium, Honorable Zungu.
Thank you, House Chair, Honorable Premier, Honorable members of KwaZulu-Natal Legislature, our people of KZN, I agree to all. Honorable Chair, I stand virtually before this august House, which represents the hopes and aspirations of our people on behalf of the African National Congress. I'd like to appreciate the Honorable Premier for the insightful delivery of his office's budget, as well as the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on the Office of the Premier for delivering the committee's report on the 2020 and the 2021 budget. We meet today on this visual platform amid a global pandemic that had changed our lives, the way of our life, to an unfathomable degree. The novel coronavirus has placed much of the world on standstill, with more than 6 million global cases of infection, along with a regrettable 370,000 deaths to date. This global pandemic has produced a serious negative impact on our society. It has impacted negative economically, such that there is economic slowdown and revenue shortfalls. It also impacted negative socially, which resulted in the cancellation and suspension of major events like the annual Easter pilgrimage. Chair, we also commend the sterling work that has been undertaken by the Honourable Premier with the Provincial Common Council by radically shifting the provincial administration's approach to service delivery to suit these trying times of COVID-19. The introduction of the Provincial Common Council was set up as a response by the government to meet the day-to-day needs of our people. The Provincial Command Council structure consists of the Technical Command Center, which provides the technical support to the Provincial Command Center, clusters, governance, state capacity and national development, social cluster, economic and strategic infrastructure development, and justice, crime prevention and security. The Provincial JOC, which is Disaster Management Team, co-chaired by the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs and the Department of Health. Provincial Joints, which is chaired by the Provincial Commissioner of the South African Police Services. This structure is replicated at district level, thus enabling the streamlined effort towards flattening the curve. The ANC-led government in our province has also brought on board all relevant stakeholders such as traditional, religious, and business leadership. These efforts are ongoing and are in a state of constant progressive evolution to meet the demands that come with the situation. We therefore call upon all citizens of South Africa and KwaZulu-Natal to exercise extreme caution and adherence to the health guidelines during the period, especially with the phasing in of alert level 3, and do their part fighting this COVID. We also urge our people to be informed with the latest updates from our government on all media platforms, as well as make use of the National Institute of Communicable Diseases contact for information. As ANC, we would like to stress that uma sibambisana futhi sizimisele kuningi esingakwenza ukulwisana nalesi sifo so COVID. Together, united and determined, we can do more to fight against COVID-19. House Chair, the Portfolio Committee on the Office of the Premier has gone to a greater length into ensuring that it exercises its constitutional role in playing oversight on this department. As we all know that the sixth administration began in the second half of 2019, therefore members had to hit the ground running into ensuring a seamless continuation of good work that had already been done in terms of the oversight. As indicated, Honourable Chairperson of the committee, guided by its annual oversight plan, the Portfolio Committee had held several meetings with the Office of the Premier to refine the draft APP and budget. Emphasis and commitment by the committee of playing the oversight over 800.1 million received by the Office of the Premier has at all times been made. The committee has also raised serious concern around that 4 million that the chairperson has spoken about that was transferred by COGTA to Premier, which could contribute negatively to audit opinion, as it has happened with the 2019 and 20 financial year, where regression has been encountered by getting a qualified audit opinion after 11 years of consecutive unqualified audit. The 4 million that was transferred does not seem to have been transferred following the right processes due to non-availability of that service level agreement. So we still await the SLA, and the confirmation for that Treasury has supported it through the interdepartmental transfer of the funds. As promised in the last committee meeting, the Office of the Premier's APP are developed on the statutory policy mandate. The Honourable Premier have categorically emphasized that as the provincial government will remain committed to the goals set in the 2015 to 2020 strategic plan, which is centered around good and cooperative governance, stakeholders fully engaged and well informed on KZN Vision 2030, a coordinated, equitable, integrated service delivery system, and improved performance and accountability. Chairperson, I have been tasked to highlight the importance of Programme 1, which deals with provincial administration, being the coordinating department and the department in the provincial administration. The Office of the Premier requires a solid foundation in its administration duties, those being the Premier Support, Executive Council Support, Director General, Financial Management, Intergovernmental Relations. Following the Auditor General's report for the year 2018-19, where it flagged irregular expenditure due to the contravention of SM legislation, we are pleased with the swift implementation of remedial measures, particularly the Audit Improvement Plan. This plan seeks to address the irregular expenditure, non-compliance with emergency and deviation procedure, as well as to deal with fruitless and wasteful expenditure. As ANC, we want to warn all officials within the office that irregular activities will not be condoned, and further state that anyone found to be cutting corners will face the full might of the law. We would like to also note with pleasure the fourth quarter improvement in the invoice paid within 30 days. This means that businesses, particularly the SMMEs, can progress in their dealings with provincial government and develop the fight against triple challenges. We remain optimistic that the progressive trend will be maintained, if not bettered, and other departments will follow suit. Hence, the provincial government has adopted the Operation Sikhoka Ngesikhathi campaign. We note some of the challenges of the Office of the Premier faced were linked to the vacant critical posts that were not filled due to bureaucratic nature of government. The Office of the Premier was again swift in remedying this challenge by ensuring that the vacancy rate goes below the generally accepted 10%. Also noting the employment of persons with disabilities, which is estimated at 2.2% in the officials in that particular Office of the Premier. But as the ANC, we look forward to that 2.2% being improved. Hence, we know the call for 7%. The Office of the Premier also reduced the red tape by ensuring that the documents are signed within 24 hours. As the Chinese economic pioneer Yuan Jiang said, I quote, "Time is money, efficiency is life," close quote. Honourable Premier, we commend the office effort in saving time and taxpayers' money. Honourable Chair, we as the ANC are in the view that the allocation of 136 million to Programme 1 will be beneficial to the great work of the Office of the Premier, the Provincial Executive, as well as Director General, and surely it will progressively be a step forward in achieving and maintaining the improved government and accountability and coordination, integration and efficiency in the government. Chair, allow me to also express our gratitude to our government at all levels. Our people, unfortunately,
Manzini, your time is up.
But as ANC, we support budget vote number 1.
Thank you so much. The next member must follow the suit. Just ensure that you follow all the rules. From the IFP, Honorable MP Gwala Mpepetra, you have 5 minutes.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Premier, we want to commend your respected office for ensuring that the provincial government continues to look after His Majesty, the King, and the budget of 71 million for the upkeep of royal palaces. But the IFP believes that it is not enough, not in terms of monetary term. We are deeply concerned about the manner in which the affairs of His Majesty the King and the royal house, royal family are being administered. Our concern dates back to the time when the Department of Royal Household was reduced to a mere Chief Directorate in the office of the Premier. The Chief Directorate has not received the necessary attention to manage its affairs to its fullest potential and to administer the affairs of His Majesty the King and the royal family. It is our firm view that it would have been better if the Chief Directorate was an independent department for it to function properly. Furthermore, we are alarmed by the utter lies, not from the office of the Premier, and falsehood leveled against His Majesty the King by some members of the public who say the King is misusing public funds. His Majesty the King has also been vilified, ridiculed, and insulted in the public domain by some political pundits and the media and accused of misusing public funds. The Premier, as the head of government, is responsible for defending the King against those who are peddling lies. The King must be defended at all costs against the malicious accusations which are designed to tarnish his dignity. These false accusations unduly prejudice His Majesty the King in the eyes of the public. Who else is bold enough to defend the King when the office of the Premier is silent? As the IFP, we reject the malicious lies regarding His Majesty the King and the misuse of public funds with the contempt they deserve. His Majesty the King is not a politician. He cannot defend himself. Whenever he is being attacked in the public domain, it is the Premier and his office who handles the purse, who must take the first line of defense. Accusation directed at His Majesty the King and the inability of the office of the Premier to provide clarity about the rules, powers, and functions of his office, the Royal Household Trust, as well as the Ngonyama Trust, has left the public in the dark. Many people are unable to separate these three entities from one another. And when things go wrong, the King is the one to blame for no apparent reason. In COVID-19, furthermore, we urge the Honorable Premier to ensure that the funding that was allocated from arts and culture to host cultural events like Umkhosi Womhlanga, Umkhosi Welembe, and others, there is a high possibility that they will not take place during this financial year. It is not surrendered back to the reserves, but it is still made available to assist His Majesty the King to raise awareness about the COVID-19 pandemic or even help to assist the indigents. The Luamba project. As the IFP, we are very concerned about failed government projects in the province. We challenge the Premier to provide answers regarding the failed Luamba project, which was meant to stimulate economic activity for the poverty-stricken community of Tambanan. We were led to believe that the Luamba project would alleviate poverty by creating employment opportunities for the rural communities of King Cetshwayo. This project has all but collapsed and is in ruin. The sad part is that no one has been held accountable for the failure. Clearly, this was another case of a wasteful expenditure of public funds. The silence on the provincial government on matters in which millions of rands of taxpayers' money are unaccounted for leaves much to be desired. We wish to know who is being protected here. Officials implicated in the misappropriation of public funds must be made to pay back every cent. We are aware that the Honorable Premier inherited this project from his predecessors, but we urge him to institute an urgent investigation into the expenditure of funds allocated for this project. We also note that in Nkululeko Development Project Phase 2, the focus for 2021 will continue to be on Mzinyati, Uthukela District.
I'm afraid Mpepetwa took the better of bad news.
And thank you very much, Chairperson, for the time you have allocated to me.
You're more than welcome. Thank you so much, Honorable Member. The next member from the DA, Honorable ZM Mncwango, for 6 minutes. The podium is yours, Pangazita.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, allow me to firstly acknowledge and commend the collegiality that is always displayed by members of the Premier Committee, putting aside political differences in the interest of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. We have noted the budget increase as the Office of the Premier has been allocated 800 million from the previous year budget of 714 million. This means we expect to see more improved governance and accountability in your office, Honorable Premier. But to achieve both improved governance and accountability, we will demand transparency.
Confirmed that we were together with
As for
Gauteng,
this budget table
I
today,
think we were 97%.
you
So
must be
that's
transparent, not only to us as members of the committee or this house, but to the people of this province. We welcome 50 million youth funding, but we need transparency on the process and how beneficiaries are selected. Transparency will empower even young people of this province on how to access this funding and further allow general public to play oversight. We know many stories where money gets spent on a project that physically doesn't exist while it's a completed project on paper. Honorable Premier, I'm calling on you to be transparent about the money that was spent for the funeral of a late prophet Imisebe Yelanga that costed your office 3.9 million and the committee still getting vague responses. Initially, we were told it's 3.5 million. Now it's 3.9 million. They claim that 490 million is just a VAT. The DA called for investigation on this matter, but the ANC is totally against such investigation. Honorable Premier, can you commit today that you will conduct an investigation without raising those silly excuses that were raised by your ANC comrades? I'm focusing on transparency because your office must lead by example, Honorable Premier. We don't want to see or hear again about unexplained transfers from departments like the 4 million for construction of the palace for His Majesty the King, which was transferred from Kokta to your office. This morning, Honorable Sonjika touched on this matter. Interestingly, Honorable Speaker, after DA raised questions, now the money will be transferred back to Kokta, according to your office, Honorable Premier. This is a clear poor governance by your office and lack of accountability. Another area of concern is the budget for main projects planned for 2020-2021 MTEF. I see a real contradiction and confusion in your department, Honorable Premier. You need 3.4 million to maintain and repair King's Palaces. Last year in July 2019, your office spent more than 3.6 million for just one trip to United Kingdom by His Majesty, and 378,000 that was paid by Arts and Culture Department for Amabuto for the same trip. This means your government spent about 4 million just for one trip last year. We mustn't blame the King because he doesn't sign or authorize any expenditure. I agree with Honorable Gwala on that issue. Can you tell this House, Honorable Premier, whether you see this as a wise spending of public funds, and also if you regard this as a fruitful expenditure, considering that now you need similar amount for renovation. Another area of concern is the elephant in the room, the training academy project that started in 2014. 6 years later, there is no academy, but your office, Honorable Premier, have spent 20.7 million, but there is no academy. We are being told there are plans. This government must be transparent, especially with money spent to the royal family. We don't want to sit in these debates and always debate about the king and his family, whereas this government is the one misusing funds. We are now clearly that almost all departments are somehow funding royal household. Today we talk of 71 million rand to His Majesty. But there are other costs hidden by other departments. I'm calling for you, Honourable Premier, to be transparent and be clear as to how many departments are actually footing the bill for His Majesty. Can we finally get a Royal Households fundraising initiative bearing fruits? It's been years you preaching this gospel. Even your predecessor was saying the same thing about this trust. Can we finally get a trust up and running where we can raise money and able to sustain His Majesty and the family without really every time and now and then having this debate about His Majesty, because it's becoming an embarrassment to His Majesty that we as members of this parliament keep debating about his funding. Person, allow me also to raise
unfortunately Mpangazitha isikhathi sakho sesiphelile mhlonishwa siyabona both of us around the field siphelile isikhathi sakho siyabonga. The next member to debate from the EFF AV Khoza for 6 minutes as well. The platform is yours, Mkhathini. Do we have Honorable Khoza in the house?
Ngikhona Mthombeni ngibonge Sihlalo. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, for the opportunity to debate. Our greetings to the Premier, honorable members, and honorable colleagues. As the EFF, we note the budget speech by the Premier. We wish to comment on the budget by the Office of the Premier, but before we do that, we would want to send the heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families who lost members to the novel COVID-19. We also would like to also express our condolences to the family of George Floyd, who was brutally murdered by the racist police, and put our hands together for the people of America who stood up and fought back to the racist initiative from across color lines. The Office of the Premier is entrusted with the responsibility to coordinate governance in the province, and we expect this office to be a shining example on how public funds should be expended. Regular expenditure, under expenditure, and over expenditure should never be associated with this office, and we expect at all times that this office should have a clean audit as a shining example. We are concerned with the lack of action in fighting corruption in the province. This office should be overseeing and leading in putting an emphasis that all departments should have a very clear consequence management strategy, so that those that think that public funds are their personal inheritance should be dealt with accordingly. On the 50 million set aside for the Youth Unemployment Fund, we wish to see this money put to good use, Prem, in an open and a transparent and non-partisan manner. We would not like to see a situation where there is political patronage using this money. There must never be any favoritism, but it must be done in a transparent manner to assist all youth without any favoritism. On the issue of the King and the budget allocated to the royal household, we note the 71 million, but we believe that as the EFF, these funds allocated to the royal household are not prudently utilized and accounted for. We also note the duplication and overlapping of roles and budgets between the Office of the Premier, COCTA, Arts and Culture, and Agriculture. We want to echo the sentiments raised earlier to say that we believe that the office, His Majesty, ends up getting more money because no one is able to say this is the X amount without this duplication of funding and overlapping responsibilities. We express our concern about the Royal Household Trust, which has failed over the years to raise funds to be able to sustain the royal family. We are concerned that we get told that X amount of work has been done in the palaces. We've had an opportunity to visit the palaces only to find that the work that is reported to have been done is substandard and almost non-existent when all the money has been expended. We want to discourage the tendency that most of the budget end up going towards human resources or staff compensation. We do not want to see this being repeated in this financial year. Sijabulile ke ndunankulu ukuzwa ukuthi laphayana ehhovisi lakho kuzoba khona umkhankaso ukubhekelela ukulwa nobubha nanokuthi kuzokwelekelelwa abahlali ikakhulukazi basemaplazini. La kulesifundazwe abantu bakithi abahlali nabasebenzi basemaplazini baxhashazwa imihla namalanga, baxhashazwa amabhunu angabanikazi bamaplazi. Akukho la bakhala khona. Noma bangaya kwa-Land Affairs, noma bangaya emaphoyiseni, noma bangaya kuphi, akekho oyimisele ngokubalekelela ngoba kunomkhuba la kulo hulumeni nala eSouth Africa ukusaba abelungu. Bagcine abantu bakithi bayizisulu zokuxhashazwa ngenxa yokuthi nje akekho basizayo. Sifuna kucaceke ukuthi uma le program isiqala, it must be staffed with people who have the interest of the poor farm dwellers and farm workers at heart. It must not be staffed by the elite who will sit in the offices bafike lapha baphuza itiye namabhunu baveteze isingisi esikhulu abantu bakithi bagcine bengasizakalanga. Sizoyilusa ke le budget ndunankulu siqinisekise ukuthi ispendwa ngendlela okuyiyona yona. Sesigcina na njengomuntu ohlala lapha phambili eqhulwini kule structure esibhekelele ukhuvethe. Sifuna ukusho ukuthi njengoba kuvulwe amanzi amponjwana nje izolo nangalelela ngasibonile abantu bekhohliwe i-social distancing beshaya ematwaleni. Nisilekeleleke abantu bakithi banga-affecteki. Siyabonga.
From the NFP for 2 minutes, VR Mlotshwa, Baba Ngam, the platform is all yours.
Ngiyabonga mphathi Sigqiki ndunankulu. We support the vote 1 budget. However, we call upon the Office of the Premier to intervene and implement a plan for the safety of the people, in contrast to Amapara being the reason towards high crime activities, lack of cohesiveness of and unsafe communities. The Premier should also increase funding to KZN Youth Empowerment Fund and amplify intake target to support over 100 businesses to fight the low economic growth and high unemployment, as it is still a main challenge that millions of South Africans are jobless. Kodwa ke ndunankulu ingabi namehlo abona abanye bese kwabanye wavale amehlo. Ndunankulu esikhathazekile ngaloku ukuhluleka kwehhovisi lakho ukusebenzisa imali ngendlela efanele ukufeza izidingo zabantu bakwaZulu-Natal izibuyele emuva abantu belambile nesidingo nqangi zingafeziwe nakuba kunomuntu oqashela ukwenza lokho singeze ukuthi kwenze njani kuye. Ngo 4 million ndunankulu ophakathi kwehhovisi lakho.
Okay, thanks. Can you just hold a second, Honorable Mlotshwa? Can I have the members giving us a chance to speak? Okay, no, thanks, Mahlobo. We are going to investigate whether the position that has been chosen by Honorable Mlotshwa, which is giving us the background of his party regalia, I don't think it's accepted, but he will proceed and close. We then debate at the end. The speaker will then rule. You can just land. Honorable Mlocha, you had some few seconds, then you can stop.
Ngiyaxolisa mphathi Sigqiki ngisehhovisi lami la manje ngikhohliwe ukususa zonke izinto. Mphathi Sigqiki ngifisa ukuthi ke ihhovisi lakho ndunankulu kulo 4 million ophakathi kwaCocta kanye nehhovisi lakho ubukeka uya ulingcolisa ioffice lakho ungcolise kanye nawe kungakuhle ukuthi usheshe ucace ngawo ukuze sazi ukuthi undunankulu akazi lutho ngawo amanzi kubantu amanzi kubantu.
Your time is up. We just crave the indulgence from members before the speaker is going to come and make the ruling later, but it is the reality that we all understand that we are not allowed to enter the house with our party regala. So we can just rule that we all understand this is virtual sitting, which is formally, which is acceptable in terms of the convention of the house. So let us ensure that we adhere to the rules, honorable members. We are going to afford 9 minutes from the
Chairperson,
ANC.
on a point of order.
Okay, Honorable Rogers, what rules do you want to address that point of order? Yes?
I'm standing on the new virtual rules, Chairperson. I didn't want to interrupt any of the members, but there was an agreement that because there's no translation, all the virtual debates would be in English to facilitate everybody understanding. I certainly understand the language, but I know there's some people that don't. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thanks for your indulgence, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Rogers. That is in order. Honorable members, those who are still going to advance some of their presentation, if you can just stick to a version that is acceptable and understood by all members, as we all understand that there will be technical glitches if we're to put those who are going to interpret later, Chair. So let us just do that. The honorable members who are going to come for 9 minutes is Honorable Artim Tembu. Neswemvula, the platform is yours.
Honorable Chairperson, on a point of order, Honorable Chairperson, it's Zinhle.
All right, Honorable Tsele, before Honorable Mtembu. Mam Tembu, you are on the podium. Talk. Which rules?
No, I'm standing on the new rules of the virtual meetings, Chair.
All right.
No, Honorable Chairperson, I don't remember seeing a rule that will actually say that as members who, for an example, I'm debating, and I know that I'll be debating in Zulu. So now I must change my speech because there are members that actually don't understand English. For me, that's not going to be acceptable, Chairperson. Thank you.
Honorable members, let us not just raise this as a debate. I think let us agree in principle that whatever that transpired in the whipper, let us implement those rules, because I wouldn't want us to walk into deeper details of what happened really. But I think we all understand. In fact, I think in South Africa, we know the languages, but in the spirit of ensuring, as we all understand that we are also streaming, let us embrace the issue of unity and diversity, which is our motto in the country. Honorable Mtembu, then you are in the podium. You are recognized for 9 minutes from the ANC.
The Honorable Chairperson, the Honorable Premier, and the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, and greetings to all. The budget presented by the Honorable Premier of Vote 1 is hereby welcome and supported. Let me start by that. However, it is a historic budget which is presented while almost all of the legislature can be said to be in hiding from the attack by novel coronavirus, now known as COVID-19. It is a worldwide fierce attack that sees no borders. Whoever thought that by this time legislators will be condemned to what can be taken as a house arrest, hence frustrated from carrying out their constitutional mandate of oversight. Thanks to the fourth industrial revolution that at least now we can hold meetings visually in the comfort of our homes. When the coronavirus hit the shores of South Africa, the country was already in technical recession, therefore subjected into sizable economic crisis. In fact, it can be said that the whole world is in economic crisis. We are made to believe that this crisis we are now in is a result of COVID-19. One wants to believe that is not true. What we are currently experiencing is a serious economic slump of a system that is failing, the system of neoliberal capitalism, and has got nothing to do with socialism. The health and economic crisis leading to massive and expanding debt toll, the impoverishment of tens of millions of people, all this the product of society, not of nature. But even before the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, our country and our people, especially the working class, urban and rural poor, were already in a state of acute crisis. This crisis is multifaceted. It is characterized by massive unemployment, underemployment, world record levels of inequality, grinding poverty, which include food insecurity, insecure shelter, indebtedness, endemic violence, particularly gender violence, which is itself a symptom and an expression of these multiple crises and their impact on social reproduction, the ability of a society to sustain itself. These crises put an added burden to the office of the Premier in providing leadership. All aspects of life, including the running of government, will never be the same. The office of the Premier must brace itself for what now is referred to as a new normal, although we need to ask ourselves about the old normal, if it was indeed normal. What is becoming clear is that technology, hence the fourth industrial revolution, will come at the center of our lives, becoming a key driver of our lives and economy. This is the environment in which the office of the Premier will have to lead in navigating through this period. Surely we are going to do a completely different prioritization of distribution of financial resources to what it is now. Sub-programs like ICT may have to move to the center in our prioritization. Honorable Chairperson, allow me to go through to what the OTP is expected to provide effective leadership. The provincial government to contend with a number of social, political, and mainly economic challenges, and this House will be watching with keen interest on how the Office of the Premier will provide leadership in responding to safeguard the people and the provincial economy. Some of the challenges are the reprioritization, the budget, and mobilizing resources for the immediate public health responses required, a sharp fall in the provincial output as a result of the lockdown-related production downtime and travel restriction, an expected fall in the provincial gross domestic product, a recession, or even a depression. Already massive retrenchment are occurring, for example, in US alone, 22 million people for unemployment are registering for unemployment benefits. Here in South Africa, the number of workers applying for unemployment insurance funds reached 1.9 million by mid-April 2020. That is 1 in 8 of all workers, or 1 in 5 of formal sector workers. All these and many others have far-reaching implications. It is too early to measure the full extent of the crisis that is unfolding and social as well as political consequences. The economic crisis caused by the COVID-19 pandemic is among the worst since the Second World War. Indications are that it is bound to worsen. Conversely, the crises have opened up possibilities for progressive and even revolutionary responses. We expect the leadership of the Office of the Premier to ensure that this opportunity is not wasted in a definitive march towards realizing the goals of the Freedom Charter. It is therefore our expectation to the Office of the Premier to revisit some of the practices that may not find space in the future challenges. The practice like spending over 20 million in a feasibility study to build a single facility will not be acceptable, as we have seen in the proposed public service training academy. We will be also watching as this House with hawk eyes how the grant of the 15 million to the youth fund will be spent. We will appreciate if the Office of the Premier take responsibility of closely supervising the procurement processes for fight against COVID-19. The KwaZulu-Natal is still engulfed with serious challenges of access to clean and safe water. Failure to correct this for almost 30 years now requires the Office of the Premier to take full and direct responsibility. This must include the much publicized allegation of corruption pertaining to this critical basic need directed at municipalities and water board. Lastly, we would like the Office of the Premier to make follow-ups and report to this House the widely reported allegations of corruption to all EOH-linked projects and activities of state attorneys which are said to be subject of this SIU investigation. Again, the African National Congress gladly accept and support the budget. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mvelase, for saving us some time as well. That was progressive from your side. The next member from the Minority Front for 2 minutes is Honorable STACOV. The podium is yours, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Juma. Honorable Premier, the Minority Front thanks you and the Provincial Command Council for the various efforts and authentic leadership during the COVID-19 crisis. The important focus is to reduce the infection rate with purpose, values, heart, self-discipline, and relationships. On behalf of the citizens, it's important to ensure that SAPS and SANDF members are trained on interpersonal or soft skills to assist citizens rather than harm them. I want to thank your staff for workshopping the Women's Caucus with protocols and decorum. But Honorable Premier, I suggest that this should be done for the male legislators as well, so that they uphold the honor of this House outside. Thanks for celebrating our cultural occasions such as Eid, but as an Indian community, we anxiously await the completion of the 1860 indentured laborers monuments before the 16th of November. We all need our ancestral blessings, especially during a crisis time like this. Similarly, we need to address and to harness His Majesty's wisdom in order to assist us during this crisis period in the rural areas, and therefore we need to address the budget of the royal household. Furthermore, I want to thank you, Honourable Premier, for the food parcels that were delivered in all wards in eThekwini. But you know, a lot of people were left out, and we do need a second round of distribution because 60% of the infected individuals come from eThekwini. Furthermore, the additional budget that have come to the Premier's department should be used to strengthen the nurse centre as well as the M&E units because we do need data for securing additional national budgets as well as quarterly reports to our House. This honourable House. And finally, we need 3 areas that we need to take care of, and that is the business community and their contribution during COVID-19, the protection of our civil servants, and of course a virtual meeting with the newly constituted KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Planning Commission so that we streamline all COVID-19 activities in a very lean and clean way. The Minority Front.
I'm sure you know, Honourable Rashbaz, that the time is the enemy.
Okay, 801 million with these recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next member to take the podium from the ATM for 2 minutes, Honorable Emmy Pagati Pangazita. The platform is yours. Is the ATM available now? If not, as they reported earlier in the morning, the next member to partake, ACDP SE Mangaile Ndlozi, for 2 minutes. The program is yours, Mfundis. Do we have Bob Mangaile, Honorable Mangaile? If not, we'll then proceed. They'll indicate, honorable members, if there were some technical glitches from their side, they'll indicate. We'll just afford them the platform. Oh, great stuff. Amen, Mfundis.
Amen, Baba.
The platform is yours for 2 minutes, Baba. You can proceed.
Oh, ngiyabonga mfowethu. As ACDP, we have heard and acknowledged the presentation by the Premier when he said KwaZulu-Natal needs to provide COVID-19 relief funding to improve the economic status in our province. We, as ACDP, we have noted that a big percentage of KwaZulu-Natal workforce is informally employed. So this population is extremely vulnerable to economic shocks, and they need a great assistance. So this will improve life expectancy and increase economic and physical resilience. So physical mechanism can help support recovery and reliance effort while promoting low carbon development. Chair, the issue of COVID-19 is a problem, but on other hand, we have also noticed that it has changed the patterns of consumption. For instance, if you take the issue of electricity usage, patterns have shifted from people, since people were working at home in their own pace. This pattern shows us that
if it's your call, please try to attend it. Mfundisi,
no, I don't know
proceed.
what is happening, Chair.
Proceed for 5 seconds, then you can close it. We have some shop.
How? So the KZN government could achieve the dream of poverty and development by development the same patterns that at the moment has helped ESCOM to gain the momentum. As ICDP, we acknowledge the attempt of the Premier to reduce the poverty against the youth.
Thank you so much on this. Sishawa isona isikhathi. Imfudumalo siyayizwa baba, siyabonga kakhulu. The next member to partake on the House from the DA, Honorable Z.M. Mncwango for 2 minutes. Pangazit, the platform is yours for 2 minutes. Awungena uzingele ngomdlwane manje.
Thanks, Chairperson. Chairperson, allow me also again to commend the Premier for a regular update on COVID-19. But I want to state clearly that the Premier must stop this secrecy approach of hiding crucial information from the public, as he is currently doing around the breakdown of COVID-19 cases in the province. Only God knows why he doesn't want to give people of KwaZulu-Natal this breakdown down to local municipalities and townships in order for everyone to be able to make an informed decisions based on empirical data. The reality, on Chairperson, our economy has collapsed due to COVID-19 lockdown, although it was already on decline because of ANC confusion around economic policy. But that being said, we need a new economic growth strategy for KZN, and your office, Honourable Premier, must play a big role as a coordinating department. It is rather a complex and difficult to embark on a budget process in the middle of a national crisis, because it forces us to change traditional ways of doing things and adapt to a new situation. But I want to also raise something on Chairperson, the Premier raised during SOPA address. The Premier spoke about lifestyle audit, but in terms of this budget and in terms of his speech, he says nothing about lifestyle audit. I wonder why and when this government will actually at some stage finally do a lifestyle audit as promised by the former Premier and this current Premier, the Premier can come here and talk about ethical conduct, professionalism. But we believe ethical conduct must start from us as politicians. We can't always demand professionalism and ethical conduct on staff members only, without us accounting as politicians. It's for that reason, Chairperson, I strongly believe that the Premier needs to...
Thank you so much, Pangazita. Your time is up. The next member from the IFP, Honorable VF Tlhabisa Ngochakabulawayo, for 5 minutes. The platform is yours.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Premier, Honorable members and honorable guests, on behalf of the IFP, I welcome the presentation of the budget by the Premier. We also acknowledge the role played by all key stakeholders and frontline soldiers in fighting COVID-19. It is true, Honorable Chairperson, that senior leaders in the province rose above party political lines as we fight against coronavirus. We commend all senior leaders for demonstrating maturity while providing leadership during the time of the pandemic. But Chair, I must place it on record. Numerous offices for SASSA and DSD used the plight of our people badly, where food parcels were given along political lines. I also hope that the matter of a councillor on a voice clip that was formally reported to the Office of the Speaker and the Office of the Premier is receiving investigation, and the report will be provided soon. Corruption of whatever nature must not be allowed to show its face anywhere. It is bad if it is done on food parcels using the plight of the poorest of the poor. The IFP believes that the Youth Ministry, with full executive powers as opposed to the Youth Directorate, is what can advance the good cause of our youth. Having said that, we support the Youth Empowerment Fund with 50 million budget this year. We believe that this money used correctly, it will help to reduce youth unemployment. Our concern, Honorable Chair, is transparency and accountability of this fund. We need a full list of the beneficiaries of the previous 70 million, as well as the current 50 million beneficiaries. And we will also want to receive their physical address so that we physically go there and verify the existence of these projects for the benefit of our youth. We will also want to get a clear process of the identification of beneficiaries, the criteria used to fund them, and the allocation per district for equity purposes in the province. On COVID-19, the IFP welcomes the reprioritization of programs to allow the availability of 6.2 billion for the KZN contribution to the 500 billion relief package. But when doing the reprioritization, we should not affect severely the service delivery initiatives and projects. We only hope that finally the Operation Sukuma Sake will finally stand up. The Operation Sukuma Sake, after a decade of existence, is still sitting down. We therefore ask that a quarterly comprehensive report on the OSS be presented before the portfolio to assess the impact of OSS, as well as the OSS cabinet days must be assessed other than being ticking the box activities.
The office of the Premier is the center of governance and must provide leadership. Corruption must be rooted out when it shows up. As the IFP raised the expenditure discrepancy on the funeral arrangement of Inkosi Vela Msebeyelanga Shembe, we will wait for a new explanation when the portfolio meets. As Honorable Gwala was finishing, we note in Nkululeko Project Phase 2, the IFP calls upon the Premier's portfolio to conduct an oversight visit to the Luamba project as it lies ugly, yet millions of money were invested there. The IFP welcomes the budget as presented. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Siyabonga kakhulu Ngotshe Kabulawayo, the last member to partake in the debate for 10 minutes from the ANC NR Mthembu, Niswe Mvula. Ngotshe Kabulawayo, the platform is yours.
No, thanks very much, Chairperson, to allow me an opportunity to debate. First of all, one acknowledges that this is a youth month. It is called a youth month because young people of South Africa, they took upon themselves to confront the regime when the system that was designed to sideline some of the people, particularly blacks, in the mainstream economy. And we believe that the generation of 1976, they laid the foundation. Of course, the generation of today is faced with another challenge, which included the COVID-19, which has disrupted the world. We believe and trust that the generation of today will be able to rise above and emulate the youth of 1976, who defeated the system that was sidelining the blacks in the mainstream economy and the participation. Let me greet the Speaker and the Premier and appreciate the budget presented by the Premier, which of course under difficult conditions, it is a budget that is the people's budget, of course, understanding the challenges that we are facing today. It is true that the coronavirus was not something that was expected by anybody. Of course, there are people who speak like they're experts of COVID-19, but I believe that all of us, we learned in the same way about the COVID-19. We salute the leadership, the executive led by the Premier, and everybody who assisted to ensure that we work as a unit to confront the challenge that is confronted by the people. I must also concur with the President, Honorable Tabisa, to say that we must appreciate that all the parties, except the I must be honest, they work together in ensuring that they give a direction to the society, particularly the people of KwaZulu-Natal. So we appreciate that non-grandstanding of members on the issue of COVID, which is affecting our people. But also we must say that as the ANC, a hope of the people, or only part that is the hope of the people, we will be able to rise above challenges. The COVID-19 situation is still a problem. It's not yet over. And we believe that all of us will have a responsibility to find solutions in terms of ensuring that people are not killed by this pandemic. We salute you, Premier, because under these difficult conditions, you have been able to ensure that we alert and people are assisted to ensure. There are issues that have been raised. I must clarify one thing, Honorable Chair, that I'm disturbed by a DA that all the time, even when they raise issues that you must listen to, but they are obsessed to attack and undermine the African National Congress. It is not true that the ANC is against any investigation, but our position as the ANC that we must not use unfounded information as a correct information and want us to resolve on issues that are hearsays. There are clear guidelines. We are not in any confusion as a legislature. Our policies and everything is designed to say how issues of investigation are conducted. You cannot go wherever you go and meet your friends, wherever you meet, and come back and tell us that, no, I have this information, so it must be investigated. We don't work based on rumors, but we work based on issues put on the table, and whoever is dealing with allegation must be able to provide facts of what people are raising. So it's not correct when you wake up wherever you wake up and you just say, no, the ANC doesn't want any investigation. That is not true, but it's typical of a DA. What you expect from the DA, you expect that all the time they are obsessed with the ANC. But besides challenges, of course, we are proud to see the budget, of course, which is a service-oriented budget. We understand that also this budget comes out of a situation where the COVID is diverting all the plans that were there before the COVID arrived. So we require that the leadership of the Premier able to steer the ship in a direction that is not going to compromise the people of KwaZulu-Natal. But also we must say that, Honorable Chair, yes, we must not create a situation where poor people, as if they are designed to be poor forever. I must agree with the President when he says that the COVID-19 is, of course, is a pandemic that has threatened and disrupted the whole world. But at the same time, we must be able to identify opportunities. We must not mourn until the sun sets, but we must be able to identify opportunities and ensure that currently the system allows those who are disadvantaged and put in the periphery to participate in the economy, to take charge, because currently there are people who are just speaking, but at the same time, they are not telling us that they are beneficiaries. They are in businesses, which their businesses are the beneficiaries of all the materials that is involved in the issue of the COVID-19. I have been called upon to debate. It is necessary to pass the Premier's budget and accept that.
Unfortunately, Velase, your time is at the tail end. Your time is up. Siyaxolisa busezakhe kakhulu mnisi wemvula ayikho esingayenzi. Thank you so much. Honorable Premier Zikalala Kuzen, can you afford an opportunity to respond towards this progressive debate? The platform is all yours, Honorable Premier.
No, thanks, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, let me thank all members who have spoken. Especially, let me thank Honorable Madlopa for the leadership she's providing as the chair of the Portfolio Committee and for taking up critical issues that are affecting the work of the OTP. And I think
Chair,
to sum up...
Chair, point of order.
The point of order is Ms. Bamba. I'm not sure whether I can proceed, Honorable Chair.
Chair, point of order.
Hey, can I have that member? On the point of order, which rules? Who's that member?
Chair, can I just get clarity in terms of time left for the Premier? Remember, there was time taken from the first address, and then I want to make clear how much time is left for the Premier now.
Honorable Mpangazit, I think you are aware we are recording, we are clinical, we don't need any assistance from the chair. We are clear, the Premier knows, so we are taking the time from the Premier. We are fine. We agree that we're going to take 5 minutes from his time. He only rounded using 3 minutes, so we are comfortable. We are taking the time issue. Thanks so much. You can proceed, Honorable Premier. You are protected.
Thank you. The issue of the royal household and the trust that it should generate revenue and be able to meet its obligations, I think we are committed to that. I did report that the trust term of office had expired. We are in a process to ensure that we appoint the trust again and ensure that it is effective, capacitated, not dependent on the funding, but also is able to support in terms of raising funds. So we will want to thank that. The issue of 4 million transfer from COGTA to OTP is going to be followed as we agreed during the meeting of the portfolio committee. We also would like to thank the Honorable Member Zungu. We really would try our best to deal with fruitless and wasteful expenditure. And the issue of the pay on time is critical for us in support of our SMMEs. Honorable Perpetua, Honorable Kwala, thanks for raising issues of the royal household. And thanks for indicating about the attack directed to His Majesty. And for conceptualizing that this is a political attack, this sometimes becomes a political attack. And you have correctly said that His Majesty cannot protect himself, but it is members of the legislature who must do that. And I think members of the legislature, the portfolio committee, agreed that at some point we must have an in-house committee to deal with some of these issues. I don't believe we are saying the funding of the program of His Majesty must not be accounted for, but we're saying the manner in which we handle the issues around His Majesty need to be handled with care and understanding his role as the monarchy in our province. And the continued attack normally is generated and comes from the DA because of its orientation and disrespect. And I think the sooner we deal with that, the sooner we deal with that, the better. Honorable Mpepetua, I think you are correct. The report about Luambo will be provided, and I think that will be also, if there are actions that need to be taken, those actions will be taken in full force. The issue of funding, especially of events that could be utilized for other services, we take that as a contribution from Honorable Member. With regard to the issue of the transparency on youth fund as raised by the Honorable Member Mwanga, we will ensure that the youth fund, when we account, we provide detailed account, which will include the names of the criteria first, selection criteria and the whole process, the names of beneficiaries and their companies, so that the members of the legislature, if they want to conduct any oversight role in respect to that, they will be free to do so. I think also Honorable Hlabisa Bulawayo, we will give those details as you have indicated. The second issue is the issue about the money spent on the funeral of Inkosi Msebeyelanga. I think we are prepared, and for last week, we were ready to give details in the portfolio committee. It was that there were problems because the date was confirmed with us, but later it was indicated that we will not have a meeting. So we will be ready to provide a report on that, including the report on Youth Business Development Fund. There is no politics on allocation in this fund, and we will ensure that when we account, we are more transparent. Honorable Chair, the issue of the academy, it's one of the issues that we have made it clear that we will account in the next portfolio committee, and we will do so. The issue of the breakdown with regard to the cases, confirmed cases of COVID-19, we are providing the breakdown per district on a weekly basis. I don't believe the Honorable Member, Honorable Mwanga, is correct in saying the provision of the breakdown till wards or till the lowest level will help. We have not done so because it's not helping, and it is in fact proven that that will not help. But instead, it will stigmatize the whole issue of COVID-19 and lead to unnecessary attack of our people. If fighting COVID-19 was dependent on strategy of providing the detailed breakdowns, Western Cape, which is led by the very same DA of Mr. Mwangu, would have not been having such cases today. In totality, in South Africa, there are about 35,812 confirmed cases. 23,583 are in Western Cape. 2,637 are in KZN. So this is bad. The prevalence of COVID-19, wherever it is not something to be celebrated. It is a challenge for the people. But if breakdown of numbers was helping as a strategy to fight COVID-19, Western Cape would have not been where it is today. So the difference between 2,000 and the difference between 23,000 is something huge if that was part of the strategy. And if GA thought that would be the strategy, they were wrong, and the science have proven them wrong. And I think we must join each other. We must work together to fight COVID-19 and ensure that stigmatization is dealt with. Honorable Chair, the issue about His Majesty was raised also, the issue about royal household was raised by Honorable Mwangu again, saying that all department or most of the department are funding the royal household. It is not so. We can provide an analysis on the work in support of the royal household. It must be clear, and I agree with Honorable Kwala, that when we talk about this allocation, it's not meant for His Majesty as a person. And that's why I think the decision that we should engage on these issues in committee was correct. And I would want us to dissuade ourselves from always creating sensational views so that we become relevant. And it cannot be, Honorable Kwala, let me say, it cannot be that you accuse us of not protecting His Majesty. We have protected the royal household. We will continue to do so. We will continue to clarify even issues of misinterpretation. It has only been under this ANC government where all sectors and all traditional leaders, as well as His Majesty, were properly recognized and given their space. It is only after the ANC took over the government of South Africa that we have King Shaka International Airport, named after the founder of the Zulu nation. It is only after this government that we have a road called King Cetshwayo in eThekwini. It is only after this ANC-led government that districts such as those that were uThungulu under the IFP today are called King Cetshwayo. Now, it cannot be misrepresented as if under the ANC there is no regard and respect of the royal house. We respect the royal house. Even the establishment of the ANC was led by some who come from the royal household, like former President Seme of the ANC. So I don't believe that it will be correct to take that. Honorable Khoza, we would want to thank you, and we will confirm and here want to affirm that the fight against corruption must be prioritized. Monies and all funding of COVID-19 will be monitored and assessed. We want to thank you for also raising the issue of farm workers and farm dwellers That is one priority. That is the sector whose rights are trampled on a daily basis and undermined. And those are people who still need our support. They are part of the vulnerable sectors. And if our revolution is to be measured, the success of our revolution, it should be measured on the basis of protection of those who are vulnerable. Honorable Mlotshwa, thanks for the support. Thanks for the call that we must increase the budget for the Youth Business Development Fund. But also thanks for being honest. We will also account on the money transferred from COGTA to OTP. Honorable Mthembu RT, thank you for raising issues that we must all be central in driving the revival of the economy. I fully concur with you, Honorable Member. We cannot revive the economy in its previous or current form or defined by imbalances of the past. We must ensure that we transform the economy. You are equally correct in saying what emerged as a health crisis have become an economic crisis where countries such as US and others who are positioning themselves so that whoever comes with a cure, they then benefit from that. We are happy for issues you have raised. We will take up those issues. The central role of the Premier's office in driving all socio-economic revival post-COVID-19, as you are articulating, Honorable Mthembu, will be taken forward. Honorable Takur Rashbans, thank you. We hear that you are calling for the second phase for the social relief of distress. We will try to examine the possibility of that. And I must say the distribution will remain the distribution to people who are needy and not based on political affiliation. Honorable Mangele, we take up the issues you have raised, including how we inject the economy and how we ensure that we inject for the recovery of the economy. Honorable Mwango speaks about the lifestyle audit. Yet we have responded to that question even during the debate, and our response was simple. We are waiting for the guidelines from the National Department of Public Service and Administration on how to conduct those guidelines, on how to conduct the lifestyle audit. It's not that we are running away from that. It's an issue we are committed to ensure. Honorable Hlabisa, we will always ensure transparency. We will ensure that when we account on the issue of youth fund, we are transparent. I will differ with you on the issue of Operation Sukumasaki. I can provide a list of houses that have been built through the intervention of Sukumasaki. I can provide the list of households who have been linked to supporting the fight against poverty. And I think it is unfair to say Sukumasaki has not stood up at all. I will agree with you that in Zululand in particular, there are efforts to undermine the effectiveness of war rooms. And I think that it is at a district level. And we should not politicize service delivery on Honorable Hlabisa. It was very, very disappointing to see old women in the TV complaining that in Ulundi, they were deprived food parcels because of politics. And I think we can all go to record and be able to find out. In Nkululeko Phase 2, yes, it's going to happen. It is going to include the areas from Umsinga and Greytown going to Utukela. And we will ensure that program is expedited. Let me thank Honorable Mvelase R.N. Mthembu for conscientizing us about the role of the youth, that the youth contributed in shaping the struggle for the people of our country and our country in general to be liberated. that today we are where we are because of the work we've done. I fully concur with him that while we deal with issues of COVID-19, others will put in front politics. They will demand that we open the economy in full. They will want to force us to do things that are done by the likes of Trump, because they are only standing in advancing nothing except neoliberal agenda that benefit those who amassed wealth during the apartheid era. And it cannot be so. As we revive the economy, we should ensure that it is restructured in the favor of all our people. Let me respond to this issue of the relief fund. Honorable Mthembu RT raised the issue of the UIF. And these are interventions that were initiated by the ANC-led government to mitigate the effect of COVID-19. We know that they will not be sufficient. They will not address issues and challenges as they are. But this is what the caring government is doing for the people of our country. I wish to thank all members, and I want to commit, as Honorable Zungu indicated, we are going to ensure that we put plans to deal with wasteful and fruitless expenditure, not only in the Premier's office, but throughout government department, all government department. We will account again on the issue of the training academy. We want to ensure that clean governance becomes a principle. That's why in our budget vote, we've underlined that one of the central campaigns will be the I Do Right campaign, which must be implemented in all spheres of government. We will be intensifying the support to our district and enhancing the effectiveness of district development model. I wish to take this opportunity, Honorable Chair, and thank you for this debate. All issues raised will be taken. And once again, Honorable Chair of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Madlopa, we pledge our commitment to remain transparent and fully accountable to the Portfolio Committee. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Premier. That was progressive. Let us afford an opportunity to the new debate now. From ETIA, we are going to afford the MEC Nzwagele Ncube 45 minutes. Immediately after her, the Honorable Chair Swarboy will come back and proceed. Can we afford the opportunity now, Honorable MEC Ncube for ETIA for 45 minutes? Nyamazane, the platform is all yours. Do we have the ETIA team ready to start the debate or partake in the debate? Vote for.
Chair, can you hear me?
Out and clear, you are crystal. And
thank you very much, Chairperson. Bengizothatha ukuphefumula nje. Thank you very much, Chairperson.